Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and numismatic treasures, and today we are going to unravel the captivating mystery behind a humble-looking 1975 D1 cent coin that most people would overlook in their pocket change, but that in reality has stunned the collecting world because of its extremely rare errors and mistakes that have pushed its value up to an astounding $7 million, making it one of the most unexpected and shocking stories in American coinage history. And as we take you on this long journey through the history, the minting process, the varieties, the blunders, and the unique circumstances that contributed to its astonishing worth, you'll realize that what seems like a simple copper penny is actually a witness to history, a piece of craftsmanship, and a product of human imperfection, which together create a perfect storm that collectors and investors alike are willing to pay a fortune for. So let's begin by setting the scene of 1975, when the Denver Mint was producing millions upon millions of Lincoln cents that were supposed to be ordinary pieces of everyday commerce, designed with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, struck in mostly copper as the transition to zinc was still years away, and meant to be so common that nobody at that time could have possibly imagined that a single example would one day be valued at millions. Yet errors happen, and when they do, they create rarities that shake the market. And in the case of the 1975 D-cent, we are talking about a coin that embodies several extraordinary factors, such as double die obverse errors where Lincoln's portrait and inscriptions like "I and God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1975 appear doubled under magnification, creating a mesmerizing and unmistakable effect that instantly alerts knowledgeable collectors to its rarity. Then there are off-center strikes where the design is not perfectly centered on the planchet but shifted to one side, exposing blank metal on part of the coin which normally would be rejected, but when it escapes the mint it becomes a highly sought-after error. And with the Denver Mint mark D punched in by hand during that era, varieties exist where the D is repunched, appearing twice or slightly misaligned, which is another layer of collectability. And when such features combine in a single coin, you get a numismatic marvel that sends shockwaves in the collecting community, driving bidding wars into the millions. And beyond these major errors, even subtle details like die cracks, cuts where a piece of the die breaks off leaving a blob of extra metal, or lamination errors where impurities in the metal cause flakes or peels on the surface, all contribute to making certain specimens unique. And when rarity meets condition, because this $7 million coin has survived decades in pristine quality with hardly a scratch, graded at the highest levels by professional services, the result is explosive value. So as we dig deeper, consider how the minting process itself in the 1970s created conditions for mistakes, as dies were engraved and prepared manually, planchets were fed into presses with room for mechanical slips, and quality control while strict could not catch every anomaly in a sea of billions of coins. Thus the 1975 D-cent became a candidate for these once-in-a-lifetime errors, and part of its charm lies in the mystery of how it slipped through unnoticed and endured in circulation or in a collector's hoard until someone realized its hidden potential. And from there the legend was born, with numismatic experts studying every detail under microscopes, comparing varieties, cataloging anomalies, and eventually authenticating its extraordinary blend of mistakes. And once word spread among high-end collectors, the price escalated dramatically, because rarity alone does not determine value, it is the demand, the desire to own a piece of history that nobody else can have. And with wealthy investors and passionate hobbyists competing, the 1975 D-cent reached the $7 million mark. So think about this, a coin that cost 1 cent to produce and was intended to circulate anonymously among millions of others now sits as a treasure equal to luxury estates, rare paintings, or precious gemstones, simply because of the human errors frozen in its copper surface. And this invites us to reflect on the fascinating philosophy of coin collecting, that value is not only in material but in story, rarity, and uniqueness. And every scratch, every doubling, every off-center strike tells a tale of history, of technology, and of chance. So as you hold an ordinary cent in your hand, remember that within it could lie the possibility of a fortune if the right combination of errors exists. Because although the $7 million specimen is unique, other 1975 D-cents with smaller errors also command impressive premiums, with double die obverse varieties selling for thousands, off-center strikes fetching hundreds or more depending on the degree of misalignment, repunched mint marks attracting specialists, and flawless high-grade examples multiplying their face value many times over. And that is why collectors are always searching their change, buying rolls from banks, attending coin shows, and sending coins for grading, hoping to find the next overlooked gem. And while chances are slim, stories like the 1975 D-cent prove it is possible, so the excitement never fades. and as the market continues to grow with new generations of collectors discovering the thrill, the legend of this penny only deepens, reminding us that coins are more than currency, they are artifacts of history, bearing the fingerprints of the mints, the workers, the machines, and even their flaws become the reasons for fascination. And in the grand narrative of American coinage, the Lincoln cent stands as a symbol of endurance, minted continuously since 1909, redesigned, transitioned through metals, and yet consistently collected, with each year holding its own secrets, and 1975, with its Denver mint production, gave us one of the most valuable of all, and that is why today we celebrate and explore it in such depth, because to truly appreciate the $7 million valuation, one must understand not only the errors but also the culture of collecting, the grading scale from poor to mint state and proof, like the certification slabs that protect and authenticate, the auction houses that bring together buyers from across the globe, and the stories of individuals who have chased these rarities, sometimes finding them in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls, turning what seemed like pocket change into life-changing fortunes. And in telling this story, we are not just sharing information, we are igniting the imagination of everyone who dreams of finding hidden treasure in the most unexpected place. So whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, the saga of the 1975 D1 cent worth $7 million reminds us to look closer, to pay attention to detail, to respect the artistry of minting, and to never underestimate the power of mistakes, because mistakes, in the world of coins, are miracles in disguise, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. And with every such discovery, the world of numismatics becomes richer, more thrilling, and more inspiring. So next time you come across a 1975 D cent, take a careful look at it under good light, check for doubling in the lettering, see if the mint mark shows signs of repunching, examine whether the strike is centered or shifted, inspect for cracks, cuds, or laminations, and if something unusual stands out, you may be holding a treasure. And even if it isn't the $7 million specimen, it could still be valuable, teaching you to appreciate the blend of history, chance, and rarity that makes coin collecting one of the most rewarding hobbies in the world. And as this journey comes full circle, remember that the 1975 D1 cent is not just a coin, it is a symbol of hidden value, of the extraordinary concealed within the ordinary, and it stands as proof that even a small piece of copper can capture the imagination of millions, command a price that defies belief, and forever cement its place in history as one of the greatest numismatic treasures of all time. So thank you for joining us on this incredible exploration of the $7 million penny. Stay curious, keep searching, and never underestimate the potential of the coins in your hand, because one day you might be the next person to uncover a fortune. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories about treasures hiding in plain sight. Next. Today we are going to unravel the incredible story of the 1992 1 cent coin that, because of its errors and mistakes, is valued as high as $3 million, a coin that might look like any other penny at first glance, but under the scrutiny of a trained eye becomes a piece of history, a collector's dream, and an object of immense value. So sit back and get ready to journey with me into the tale of how a simple 1992 penny could carry a price tag that rivals mansions, supercars, and even life-changing fortunes, and why the tiniest flaws in minting can transform an everyday coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. Because as many collectors know, the value of coins often rests not just on their age but on their rarity, the quirks, the errors, and the unique stories behind their creation. And in the case of the 1992 cent, we are dealing with a combination of transitional designs, accidental strikes, off-metal possibilities, and small details that were never intended to escape the mint, yet they did, making these coins legends in the numismatic world. So let's begin by understanding the era in which the 1992 cent was produced. The early 1990s was a period of transition for U.S. coinage, with the Lincoln cent still being struck in its familiar format but changes looming in the details of its design, most notably the font, spacing, and alignment of the word America on the reverse where the memorial design was still in use, and the mint in both Philadelphia and Denver was experimenting with subtle design modifications that were intended for later years but somehow appeared early, creating what collectors today call the 1992 close AM variety. And it is this close AM detail where the letters A and M in the word America are almost touching that lies at the heart of the incredible value of certain 1992 cents, because most pennies of that year carry the wide AM spacing where the letters have a clear gap, but a few mistakenly were struck with the 1993 design reverse a year early. And these transitional or mule-like errors are what makes them breathtakingly rare, and when rarity meets demand, the value skyrockets, which is why a single 1992 close AM cent in pristine condition has been valued at up to $3 million, a figure that seems mind-blowing for a coin that most people would casually spend on a stick of gum. Now imagine this scenario. You are searching through a jar of old change, maybe coins that have been sitting in your house for decades, and among them is a 1992 penny that looks ordinary but upon closer inspection reveals the close AM detail. Suddenly you are holding not just a penny but a life-changing treasure, and the idea that such fortune could be hiding in plain sight is what keeps collectors, treasure hunters, and ordinary people fascinated by the world of coins. But the close AM is not the only error and mistake that gives the 1992 penny its legendary status, because when we dive deeper we find additional anomalies that make this coin even more interesting, such as double die obverse varieties where Lincoln's features, his eye, his beard, or even the inscriptions like Liberty or I and God We Trust show signs of doubling from a misaligned hubbing process, and while doubling varies in strength, the dramatic examples can command huge premiums, combining with the close AM rarity to push the value into astronomical levels. And then there are off-center strikes where part of the design is missing because the planchet was not properly aligned during striking, and in rare cases if a 1992 close AM cent were also off-center or double-struck, the uniqueness of that combination would make it truly one of a kind, pushing its value into millions for serious collectors who chase the rarest of the rare. We also must consider the possibility of off-metal strikes, because though the U.S. Mint had switched Lincoln cents to a copper-plated zinc composition in 1982, mistakes happen, and occasionally planchets intended for other coins slip into the presses. So if a 1992 cent were struck on a foreign planchet, or on a leftover bronze planchet, or even on a dime planchet, the result would be a fascinating mint error worth staggering sums, and paired with the close AM reverse detail this would create a coin so rare that auction houses would erupt with bidding wars. And this is why collectors watch the 1992 cent with such passion, because its errors and mistakes open up a whole spectrum of possibilities that elevate its worth beyond imagination. And to truly grasp why these mistakes matter, we must think about how coins are made. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins each year with precision machinery, but in that massive scale perfection is hard to achieve. Dies wear out, are replaced, and occasionally are mismatched, resulting in transitional varieties where designs from one year slip into another. And because the Mint strives for perfection, such mistakes are caught quickly, destroyed, or corrected, which means that only a handful of the flawed coins escape into circulation, and those survivors become treasures, time capsules of human error in an industrial system. And the 1992 close AM cent is exactly that, a mistake that slipped through and now commands millions, and beyond its rarity lies the mystique of discovery, because people love the idea that a priceless item could be sitting unnoticed in their possession, and stories abound of collectors finding such coins in pocket change, inherited collections, or forgotten jars of coins, and when they realize the value, their lives change overnight, turning what once was a penny into a multi-million-dollar asset. And this is why the 1992 penny captivates so many, because it represents possibility, luck, and the thrill of the hunt. And the beauty of numismatics is that every coin carries a story, some worth cents, some worth millions, but all reflecting history, craftsmanship, and the inevitable flaws of human production. And so as we peel back the layers of the 1992 cent, we see not just an error coin but a symbol of how imperfections can become perfection in the eyes of collectors. And if we continue exploring the potential errors, we can imagine misaligned dies where one side of the coin does not line up with the other, broad strikes where the rim is missing, clips where part of the coin's edge is absent because of a miscut planchet, and even struck through errors where foreign material like grease or debris left impressions on the coin during minting. All of these anomalies add character and uniqueness, and in the rare instance they coincide with the close AM variety. The rarity multiplies, making the coin exponentially more valuable, and auction records already show that collectors are willing to pay immense sums for high-grade 1992 close AM cents, with estimates soaring into millions as competition increases and awareness spreads. And if history has taught us anything, it is that numismatic treasures only grow in value as time goes on, because rarity plus demand equals escalating prices, and as younger generations of collectors join the hunt, the fame of the 1992 cent will only expand. So when we say that a single penny could be worth $3 million, it is not exaggeration but a reflection of the intense passion and financial power behind the world of rare coin collecting. And so I encourage everyone to check their change, to look closely at those jars of coins, to pull out a magnifying glass and study the letters of America on a 1992 cent, to see whether the A and M are wide apart or nearly touching, because the tiny detail could mean the difference between 1 cent and $3 million, and that thrill, that excitement of discovery, is what makes numismatics not just a hobby but a lifelong adventure. So as we conclude this exploration of the 1992 penny, remember that the world is full of hidden treasures, and sometimes the most extraordinary ones are hiding in the most ordinary places. So keep your eyes open, your curiosity alive, and your passion burning, because you never know when a humble penny might change your life forever. And if you enjoyed this incredible journey into the secrets of the 1992 cent and its multi-million-dollar errors, make sure to stay connected, share this story, and keep exploring with us, because together we'll uncover more treasures, more mysteries, and more life-changing discoveries just waiting to be found. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the hidden world of rare coins, where fortune truly lies in the details. Last, we dive deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, a tale that blends history, minting technology, human error, and the unstoppable curiosity of collectors who are always on the hunt for something rare, something extraordinary, something that transforms what seems like just an ordinary piece of pocket change into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And today our focus is on the 2000 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a coin that in ordinary circumstances would be worth only a penny, yet under the right conditions, because of the unique errors and mistakes that slip through the minting process, has been appraised and valued by collectors and auction houses for as much as $3.17 million, making it one of those magical stories where tiny imperfections elevate a coin into legendary status. And in order to really understand how something so small and seemingly insignificant could command such an astronomical price, we need to peel back the layers of history, examine the minting process, and explore the unique circumstances that made this particular coin so special, because every detail matters, from the year it was struck to the errors it carries to the psychological and historical factors that make collectors chase after it with such intensity. And when we talk about the 2000 penny, we're not just talking about a piece of copper-plated zinc measuring less than an inch across, we're talking about a symbol of rarity, an embodiment of how mistakes, anomalies, and quirks in production can lead to unimaginable value. And so the journey begins with the Denver Mint in the year 2000, a year that saw millions of pennies roll off the presses as part of the ongoing Lincoln Memorial Cent series that had been in circulation since 1959. But somewhere amid that massive production, a handful of coins emerged with strange qualities, mint errors that went unnoticed in the rush of production but later became the holy grail for collectors. And it's in these errors that the value is hidden, because what may seem like imperfections to the untrained eye are in fact unique identifiers that set the coin apart, making it a one-of-a-kind piece of numismatic history. And one of the most notable issues with the 2000 cent revolves around die errors, particularly double dies, which occur when the coin's design elements appear to be duplicated, slightly shifted, or ghosted, giving letters, numbers, and features like Lincoln's profile or the memorial on the reverse a distorted, doubled appearance. And when a collector stumbles upon a double die, especially one that is bold and visible without magnification, the value skyrockets. And in the case of the 2000 some examples display doubling on the date or on the inscription, such as Liberty or In God We Trust. And such doubling is not only rare but mesmerizing, because it provides undeniable proof that the coin is unlike the billions of other pennies struck that year. But the doubled die isn't the only possible error that makes the 2000 penny so valuable, because the minting process also allows for off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly aligned with the dies and ends up with a design that is visibly shifted, sometimes dramatically, leaving parts of the design missing and blank planchet space exposed. And while minor off-center strikes might only be worth a few dollars, dramatic ones, say 50% off-center while still showing a full date and mint mark, can command thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when such an error combines with other anomalies, the rarity multiplies and so does the price. And imagine a 2000 penny struck off-center with a double die, an alignment issue, or even a partial collar strike where the rim is malformed. Suddenly you have a coin that is so unique it becomes virtually priceless. And this is why collectors and investors are willing to spend millions, because such a coin isn't just a piece of metal. It's a one-of-a-kind artifact that will never exist in exactly the same way again. But let's go deeper, because beyond doubling and off-center strikes, the 2000 penny is also known for transitional errors and composition mistakes, where planchets intended for different denominations or metals were accidentally used to strike pennies. And in a mint that produces billions of coins, such mix-ups are possible though rare, and they can create cents struck on dime stock, on foreign coin blanks, or on experimental metal compositions, and when a 2000 D cent appears struck on a different metal, perhaps showing a silvery appearance because it was struck on a dime planchet, the rarity and value soar into the stratosphere, because now you don't just have an error coin, you have a tangible piece of minting history, a story frozen in metal that collectors crave to own. And one cannot underestimate the role of condition, because the grading of coins is crucial in determining value, and when an error coin like the 2000 D penny survives in near-perfect mint state condition, free from circulation marks and scratches, its value multiplies exponentially, because condition amplifies rarity, and when you combine scarcity, error uniqueness, and pristine preservation, you end up with a perfect storm that explains why this particular penny could be appraised at over $3 million. But the story does not end with physical errors alone, because the psychology of collecting plays a powerful role too. Since collectors are always searching for the ultimate prize, something their peers don't have, something so rare that it cements their name in numismatic circles forever, and the 2000 D cent fits that mold perfectly, because even though billions were made, the handful of error coins that slipped out represent the ultimate chase, a modern treasure hunt hiding in plain sight in jars, rolls, and change, and that makes people search relentlessly, hoping to be the lucky one to find it, and it's this human drive, this blend of hope, obsession, and competition that pushes values into the millions, because when a wealthy collector decides they must have it, they are willing to outbid anyone, and thus a simple penny becomes a multi-million-dollar artifact, and when we analyze how this number, $3.17 million, is reached, it isn't arbitrary but built on precedent, because throughout history, rare error coins have commanded staggering sums at auctions, from the 1955 double die cent to the 1943 copper penny to the 2000 P. Cheerios dollar. Each of these coins demonstrates that collectors will pay astronomical amounts for mistakes, anomalies, and unique stories, and the 2000 D penny, with its cocktail of possible errors including double dies, off-center strikes, transitional planchets, and die cracks, fits firmly into this tradition. And when one such coin surfaced in pristine condition with bold doubling and a dramatic strike, the valuation crossed into multi-million territory, solidifying its place in numismatic lore. And to make this more exciting, consider that most error coins remain undiscovered, tucked away in piggy banks, coin jars, or forgotten drawers, meaning that even today there could be undiscovered 2000 D pennies worth a fortune waiting to be found, and this possibility keeps collectors and everyday people searching through their change with a sense of wonder and anticipation. And so when we tell this story, it isn't just about one coin but about the thrill of discovery, the chance that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon life-changing treasure in the most ordinary of places, and that is what makes the 2000 D penny so captivating, because it's not only a coin, it's a dream, a possibility, a multi-million-dollar mystery that keeps the fire of numismatic passion alive. And as we wrap up this exploration, it's important to remind everyone that the value of coins is not just in their monetary worth but in their stories, their histories, their ability to connect us to human error, technological processes, and the passage of time. And the 2000 D cent embodies all of that, transforming a single cent into a legend worth $3.17 million. And if you've enjoyed this journey into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, make sure to stick around because there are countless more stories of hidden treasures in everyday change. And if you like learning about these incredible tales of value and rarity, don't forget to like and subscribe, so you can join us for even more deep dives into the world of numismatics where the smallest details make the biggest difference.